Thank you to everyone for attending today. I understand it's hard to have an event right now in a football stadium in this country, so I apologize for that. Those of you who are technical, how many of you have in your companies or with your customers Citrix, terminal services, Citrix presentation server in use today? Okay. Is anyone using any of the application streaming, SoftGrid or SVS, Citrix application streaming? Anyone using that today? How about VDI? Is anyone using VDI today? Okay. Those who are not using VDI today, is anyone thinking about VDI? Anyone, bosses telling them they have to think about VDI? Anyone sick of hearing about VDI and wish it would go away and we never talk about VDI ever again? I guess one more thing I'll ask you is, I gave a speech on behalf of Oost last year. Did anyone attend that speech last year that I talked about? Do you remember what we discussed last year? Okay, good. All right, fine. In that case, we'll start the video and I'll just sit down there. I don't have any financial relationships with any of the companies that we talk about. So, now that that's out of the way, let the fun begin. How many of you are using Citrix for 100% of your applications? Really? Okay, so this guy in back, find him at lunchtime. The evolution of server-based computing, really for the past 5 years or so, it has been as mature as it possibly could be. In my mind, Citrix and terminal server is the right way to do things. You know, it's the real way to do things. This VDI thing, it just seems weird. It just seems like people who are doing that are people who don't really know any better. However, I'll tell you right now, my view has changed. If we took those desktops off the desks and put them into our data center, what if we connected to those desktops with RDP? Connected to them remotely? That would give us some cool benefits. Management, access, performance, security. These are fantastic benefits of VDI. Do you know why it has the benefits of server-based computing? Because it is server-based computing, of course. The only difference is instead of having a multi-user terminal server on the back end, we have a single-user terminal server on the back end. Now, like I said, how cool VDI is depends on who you ask. Of course, VMware is going to talk about how, you know, VDI is the real solution. Citrix did the exact same thing, and VDI was shit. Until Citrix came out with Zen Desktop, and then, well, it's a blended solution, it's not quite so bad. And, oh, by the way, it's separate licensing, so you go ahead and buy that and add it all in together. I firmly believe that within the next 2 years, we will have the technology that will allow us to replace just about every desktop with a VDI managed scenario. Within 3 or 4 years, we will all be doing this, and we will love it. The same thing happens, to be honest, with the technology of hypervisors we have. Whether you believe the Zen Hyper-V group, or whether you are in the ESX group, or whether you're in the KVM group, we'll talk about KVM later, the kernel virtual machine of Linux. All three of these hypervisors work a little bit differently, but they are all getting much, much better with regard to processor scheduling and memory utilization, things like that. All these machines are out there in our environments and convert them to virtual machines running inside the data center. So now we were still managing all of these users. I feel like I'm a magician about to perform a trick with this stuff. Yeah. So how many people are using Citrix Provisioning Server or the Ardence technology? All right. Do you love it? Yes. Yes. Okay. So these folks here were very enthusiastically nodding. Everyone else in the room, if you are not using Ardence on your Citrix servers, you should be. This is a bit of a side conversation, but I will tell you absolutely every single person in this room should be using Ardence for every single Citrix server. Brilliant, 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 brilliant technology. How many of you re-image your servers periodically, once a month, once a week, whatever, re-image? Okay. How many of you reboot your servers every single night? How many of you would like to combine that? What if you could re-image your servers every single night? That would be cool. Kind of a pain in the butt, though. But with Ardent, it's as simple as rebooting the server. If I'm using Ardent, now I have one disk image for all my VDI users. Which is interesting because I should already be using Ardent for my Zen app servers, right? Ardent was some of the most brilliant, amazing technology that's come out in a long, long time and can really, really change our lives. And honestly, shame on Citrix that when I asked you how many people are using Ardent, only 4 people out of 100 raised their hand. And you know, RDP and ICA both were developed years ago, enhanced over the years, but really built for remoting business applications. There's a company out there today called Kumranet. So Kumranet just entered the market about 2 months ago. They have a complete end-to-end VDI solution. It's their own hypervisor, their own management, their own web interface, and their own protocol. Kumranet's protocol is called SPICE. The SPICE protocol will blow your mind. Perfect, absolutely 100% perfect. You cannot tell that you are remoting the experience. Kumranet was in our demo lab. They had a client device with 4 monitors. In those 4 monitors, they had the web on one monitor, Office document on another one, full motion high definition video in a 3rd monitor, and Skype in the 4th monitor. Bloody hell is right. Unbelievable technology. It proves the concept that full remote protocols can exist and can do amazing things. The fact that at Bryform last week, we had 438 attendees standing around the Kumranet booth like this. A lot of lifting the skirts and looking to see if it really was running across the network. And they pulled the network cord to show, you know. Another piece of technology that's real today, there's a company called Teradici. Teradici makes something they call a Tera chip. And it is a graphics remoting protocol that is chip-based. So you put a chip on the host and a chip on the client, and they take the raw DVI content, so it only works with DVI because it's digital to begin with, and compress it down using their specialized code running on the chip. Send it to the network. They call it PC over IP. The point with Teradici is, again, perfect quality. You would not know that you're running over a remote connection. Run these things locally. Instead of server-based computing, we have client-based computing. You heard it here first, right? Oost, Nederland, June 2008, client-based computing is the future. We're going to see the Windows 7 coming out. So it is my absolute belief that 24 months from now, June 2010, we will be able to use VDI and probably replace just about every single desktop in our environment.